one thing, problem is the same, but how do you see the reducing part of it? There are few things now. How dire is the situation in this club, or is it an improvement from their previous application?
Thank you. Very, very good question, Rajan, and I'm glad that you asked that for us to be able to say that without it coming from us. The overall, as a summary, as we said in the criteria, the Article 6, that we cannot share the exact information. I have to say that the overall standing of football clubs in Malaysia is healthier than the previous years. Obviously, we're coming out of pandemic previously. We have seen the improvement of the club's overall submission and overall professional administrative actions. We are very thankful for that. We are well aware that during mid-season, third quarter of the year, we had a lot of ongoing viral issues on salaries of clubs and all that. And I believe that not only Kuala Lumpur but also Kedah that came forward and addressed the matter very professionally is also a good change of corporate and management culture. So taking media questions and also approaching it publicly is also a very good sign of address rather than not addressing this. And I believe this is a matter that we faced over the years, and I'm very happy to say that the clubs have approached this very professionally. Also on that, a lot of the issues that was faced internally in the clubs have been sorted out internally within the club. MFL has very strong and close relationships with PFAM, the players' body. We respect the authority of that union, and we appreciate the work that they do to ensure that the players also have a voice. And for all matters pertaining to player salaries and club financial issues, we always go back to PFAM and now even PJBM. Since Dato' Ong Kim Swee have taken office, we are in constant communication to ensure that what we know and hear, we can validate with these unions. And I have to say that most of the issues that we hear on social media doesn't translate to official reports. Yeah, so bermakna kemungkinan dalam pasukan mungkin ada isu tetapi ditangani di peringkat dalaman. Yeah. Of course, there may be one or two issues that come out in social media or becomes viral on social media, but nevertheless, as MFL is an official body, we can also work with these unions, the players, and also coaches now have an active union as well in PJPM, and any matters can be brought forward through these unions. So to answer your question, the clubs are much healthier this year. Yes, we went through a blip in the third quarter of the year. Teams were struggling financially based on cash flows, and we believe that the clubs are improving the way they address these matters internally. Thanks, Rajan. Yeah.
Since there's no problem with the clubs, finance, management, and revenue generation, of course there are some improvement, vast improvement from how things were done before. How you see strengthening this? I know MFL, FIB have criteria. You guys went had all the healthcare workshop and everything. How much progress have you made in these two departments? And it still seems that this is the pitfall, this is the problem that the club.
Yeah, very good question. I think financially there's two areas that always is any corporate, not only in football, but in the football scale is expense management, budget management, and obviously revenue generation. On an MFL perspective, we have yearly commercial workshops to ensure that we're able to guide the clubs in terms of how they can increase their monetization. From MFL, we have made a merit-based announcement, which is I think 90% more income this year versus last year from an MFL perspective. But I believe that each team faced the problems internally, and these teams are different than last season, right? So the clubs that we heard of this season, whether it's your Kedah, for example, it is a very unusual issue. They didn't have this the following year. So I believe the clubs may need to answer this from a club perspective. Nevertheless, I think the long-term solution from MFL is the implementation of FFP. And as this matter was also raised as a matter of concern and suggestion from Tengku Mahkota Johor, we've taken on board this advice that this becomes a priority within MFL to ensure that we are able to implement this next year. This again is an exercise not to curtail or stop the clubs from having competitive advantage in spending, but to ensure that they spend money that they have, not in the early part of the season with a lot of high expense, but not able to carry themselves through the season. So FFP is something that we will definitely introduce next season. It was supposed to be an announcement for another day, but I can share that this with you is that MFL has already engaged with AFC pertaining to the cooperation on the establishment of our FFP regulations. When this meeting takes place and we are able to bring facts and details forward, we will announce it to media and we'll call for another session for the FFP elaboration. But MFL is not implementing FFP ourselves. We are looking to the governing body in our region, which is AFC, for assistance and oversight. They are doing this as well on their side, so I believe it is right time for us to do this, and I'm very thankful for Tengku Mahkota Johor to be the one to have initiated the idea from a club perspective.
Dari ECP seperti and how FFP boleh koordinate dengan dalam pelaksanaan NFL untuk
Thanks, Azrin. Some things are very administrative, so I hope I don't bore you all with the answers. ECP and FFP must be seen not only from an implementation but an operational standpoint. Konsepnya bagus, tetapi mana ECP dan FFP dan club licensing duduk? Because it becomes over layers and it becomes over operations of controls. Di peringkat MFL kita sedang merujuk kepada ECP yang dulu sedia ada tetapi terpaksa diberhentikan disebabkan bila ECP dilancarkan pada tahun 2020 kita menghadapi pasca pandemik, dan dengan itu ECP secara langsung terpaksa diberhentikan. Dengan kedudukan semasa dan juga perubahan dan pengumuman yang kemungkinan akan dilakukan oleh AFC sendiri, adakah proses FFP atau ECP ini perlu be independent of the current system, disebabkan di dalam MFL kita sudah ada lesen unit pelesenan klub di mana pemantauan dan juga pergerakan unit tersebut ada juga persamaan dengan FFP, proses-proses FFP. Ini antara perbincangan kami dengan AFC adalah di mana kita boleh memastikan satu sistem khusus di mana proses pemantauan dalam musim dan juga proses pelesenan adalah satu seamless experience for the football clubs. Kalau tak, kita ada FFP independent or in silo, club licensing independent or in silo, and then we are just not working together. So this is the ongoing current discussions that we are having internally, and we hope for a lot of guidance from AFC to ensure that we are also in line with the implementations on their side. Yep.
Tujuh kelab dari MT tidak diberikan kebangsaan. Adakah ini bermakna tahun depan Liga Super masih dikekal dengan pasukan terjadi?
Kami harap Liga Super akan masih dengan 14 pasukan. Pada masa ini slot ke-14 tersebut berada dalam tangan pasukan itu sendiri. Kami selepas deadline 30 November dan 31 Disember saya jawab soalan tersebut. Tapi pada masa ini MFL sebagai badan organisasi Liga Malaysia mengharap slot ke-14 itu masih diisi oleh Kelantan jikalau Kelantan FC boleh memenuhi syarat-syarat yang telah dibentangkan Tuan Syed tadi.
Adakah Kelantan akan mengikut jalan ke Sarawak dan Melaka kalau terlepas deadline yang diberikan?
Ya, secara automatik jikalau Kelantan tidak memenuhi syarat-syarat FIB, memenuhi requirement 30 November dan 31 Disember, secara automatik Kelantan removes themselves from the league. Ya, Raja.
Some of the clubs feel that it's not enough support from MFL. They see, we have a lot of sponsors, maybe they think more financial support, at least half a season budget, MFL boleh dahulukan, and then it would help them to at least. It's the same problem. They are still not independent. They are trying.
Yeah.
But we know when it comes to sport, there is no GLC automatic go and support. There is so much obstacle. We are not like Japan when they lost the league. The whole government support. We went to the parliament. All the big GLC, Mitsubishi and everyone came in. Here, when we put the regulation in place, they are trying very hard. They have their limitation. At the end of the day, the money, that's the obstacle. As you said earlier, they are doing well in terms of administration, becoming professional, but the big question is money. They don't have that. They try to generate, and that's the gap, that's the vacuum that we are always struggling where we fall. Do you see a better solution for it?
At the moment, thanks Rajan. At the moment, I would like to encourage the clubs to not see and compare MFL to other leagues around the world that are global leagues and at a different economic scale in itself from a league revenue perspective. All clubs, we declare our revenues on a yearly basis in our Congress. The clubs are well aware of how we spend our money and how we distribute our funds. And this year in itself, I believe, is already a recovery for MFL post-pandemic. To announce a 90% increase in revenue for the football clubs. Is that enough? Obviously not. Do we want to achieve more? Definitely yes. But are we in the right economic climate to ensure that we are able to sell that $10 million package that we want, and who's going to pay for it? It's nice to put a price tag. But MFL is obviously improving itself. So we're making ourselves louder, prouder, we're shouting out more, we're bringing the content out in a different manner, and obviously it's translating to more partners on board. In 2021 we had 4, 2022 9, this year 13, and we've already signed on 2 partners for next year, 2 new partners for next year. So MFL is doing our best to sustain and grow the leagues, but nevertheless at the club level we've seen clubs with smaller budgets that manage themselves a lot better as well. Competitiveness from on-field performance, PDRM for example is one of the clubs with amongst the smallest budgets, but nevertheless the on-field performance translated to the solidness of that football club. We've seen the turnaround in Perak as well this season at the middle half of the year, and I believe that the football clubs have to manage within their means. They sign the contracts, they employ the players, they pay what they decide they want to pay the players. MFL does not make that decision on wage. So if they have enough, then they pay enough. But if you are signing contracts that you're not able to afford, then you adjust what the market rates are. MFL is not that body that decides on what that minimum and maximum wage can be. So having said that, I believe that the football clubs are already there. We sometimes cast a wide net and a stigma over all the clubs when the issue is 3 or 4 clubs, right? So I believe that all 10 clubs should be given equal credit of managing themselves well, with no problems at all, getting through the season and being as competitive as they can. The questions are always towards the ones that have struggled in the season, and some actually, if you sit with the CEOs, you will realize that they are where they are for certain reasons. I don't think you expected that from the clubs that you've heard through the season. You didn't expect them to be the ones to be in trouble this year. I personally as well didn't. So I believe they have their story behind it, and you should ask them how it got to that stage, rather than MFL making an unfair comment on that. Thank you.
You were involved in the Thai League push up. They are commercialization of their league. You know what to do, and we have talked about it before. It's the support that they get. They have major multi MNC support, that kind of volume of support from the corporate body, from the private communities. How to replicate that success in Asia? What are the pitfalls we are facing?
I think sport or football as a mirror of the biggest domestic sport industry is also a mirror of policy that requires certain evolution. We've started football from our heydays, and and we saw a lot of corporate support from whether it's the tobacco industries and policies that allowed that support during that time. But obviously, as time goes by, there's a squeeze and suffocation of the support that can come to professional sport. The cost of professional sport increases, but policy has not changed. And I'm very thankful that we're having open conversations now in the ministry to ensure we can see change in government policy to support the evolution of professional sport. That's an open conversation that we're having with KBS at the moment, and you know, without saying too much, I'm just very happy that we are having that conversation, because it's progressive conversations. It's not about talking about the problems, but it's talking about the solutions that we can have moving forward, and hopefully we can come to some conclusion of how the industry needs to be shaped to support not only football but for other sports, professional, domestic industries that need to grow. I believe the policy change becomes a equation for all of us and not only for MFL.
Good.
Yeah.
Perspektif NFL, semua pasukan diwajibkan menghantar pasukan dalam Piala Presiden dari 2024. Mengambil kira situasi terkini pasukan.
Pada pengumuman awal MFL dalam pembentukan Liga Bawah 23 adalah 1 tahun exemption di mana pasukan boleh menghantar either under 20 or under 18. Di sini dengan pemakluman yang telah diberikan oleh FAM tempoh hari, pemakluman itu adalah satu keputusan pembangunan yang diperlukan di dalam liga kita juga. Dalam Liga Malaysia, kita perlu juga memahami kepentingan pembangunan tersebut. Jadi mana untuk memastikan satu skuad kebangsaan atau satu pasukan Liga Super yang kita boleh control cost dan control development, pelaburan pasukan di dalam pasukan-pasukan pembangunan ni adalah sama importance daripada you ambil lagi satu foreign player. Kadang-kadang lagi satu foreign player tu sama cost dengan cost pembangunan yang you choose not to pay for. Ya, so satu keputusan yang saya rasa bagus untuk pembangunan, tetapi itu satu perbincangan yang saya perlu juga ada bersama dengan semua CEO pasukan untuk memastikan apa yang diumumkan oleh FAM boleh dilaksanakan di peringkat kelab, dan juga pemahaman kelab, iaitu keputusan FAM tempoh hari adalah satu keputusan yang berasaskan keputusan pembangunan yang diperlukan daripada kelab-kelab profesional Liga Malaysia.
Saya melihat itu sebagai satu tugas tambahan ataupun bebanan kepada pasukan.
Pada waktu ni, I cannot remember the exact number, tetapi majority, more than 50%, 60% of the clubs already send all teams. Ya, ini adalah satu bracket kecil di mana beberapa pasukan sahaja yang tiada memenuhi quorum tim-tim pembangunan. So I don't think it's a question of the league, but a question of a few clubs yang mungkin tidak ada pasukan pembangunan belia tahun ini yang untuk diorang comply to the following year. So if we don't create a big problem out of it, we isolate the problem, it's only maybe 3 or 4 teams.
Maksud mungkin ada nak buat perubahan dia untuk kekang daripada masalah gaji dan mungkin mengurangkan jumlah import pasukan ke
itu antara perbincangan dalam FFP. Terlalu awal untuk saya bagi tahu mengenai, again, kita jangan buat satu keputusan over everybody because you ada masalah dengan 3 pasukan. Ya, so kadang-kadang kita perlu lihat daripada segi keputusan yang telah dibuat dan juga di mana kita berada, dan jikalau ada masalah dengan 2, 3, 4 pasukan, kita membuat keputusan yang menyebabkan 14 pasukan terpaksa membuat perubahan. Di sini kita perlu juga melihat kepada sistem proaktif yang kita sedang berbincangkan, iaitu pelaksanaan FFP. Daripada pelaksanaan FFP, antara perbincangan hukuman yang boleh dilaksanakan from your transfer ban to limited transfer bans, iaitu berapa banyak foreign player you boleh sign. If you have financial troubles, you have certain condition. Kita jangan sebab you ada masalah kita implement the conditions across everybody. Sebab ada juga pasukan yang ada foreign player dah 2 tahun punya kontrak, 3 tahun punya kontrak. So you tak boleh buat keputusan yang menyebabkan pasukan yang tidak bermasalah tiba-tiba. So we isolate the problem. Kita ada long term solution yang kita akan umumkan dalam pelaksanaan FFP. So tunggu sebentar dan harap daripada sana kita dapat first phase of the implementation.
Betul.
Yep.
Untuk Piala NFL untuk musim depan, adakah format ataupun kriteria dia sama, ada still ni pakai ikut ataupun mungkin akan ada perubahan untuk bagi lebih kepada pemain tempatan?
Kita akan, I think peluang kepada pemain tempatan tidak perlu saya jawab, sebab saya rasa peluang atas padang 8 pemain bawah 23 pasukan kebangsaan bawah 23 yang sudah layak ke peringkat akhir Piala Asia bawah 23, dan juga peranan yang dimainkan pasukan bawah 23 ini untuk pembangunan klub senior, ya, adalah satu sistem yang sudah ada dan tak payah diubah mengikut setiap tahun nak berubah format atau format pertandingan kemungkinan akan dimajukan untuk memastikan pasukan bawah 23 mendapat perlawanan yang lebih dan musim yang lebih panjang. Itu sedang dibincangkan, ya betul. Tetapi keputusan-keputusan teknikal ini saya akan ada satu CEOs dan Technical Director Summit pada awal tahun depan untuk memastikan apa-apa perubahan teknikal di dalam liga mendapat sokongan daripada CEO dan juga Technical Director setiap klub. Ya, terima kasih.
Getting back to the declaration by the three teams yang wrong, was it intentional? Because deceiving, right? Is it kesilapan yang tidak disengajakan ataupun memang intention cover up things? How you see, maybe Tuan Syed pun boleh, how is your evaluation on that process? We need to have honesty dalam ni. Bila declaration yang meragui intention orang ni, tak menampakkan kesungguhan untuk fix the problem, hiding the problem is never the solution. How you see from your finding?
Okay, I think this year yang it happened, this year where the declaration we consider it as a falsified documents sent by them to us, to FIB, pursuant to Article 2.4, wherein the Article 2.4 said that it's wrong if you send the documents considered as falsified documents. Dalam bahasa Melayunya falsified ni can be false, kan? Jadi tahun ni ia berlaku, dan apabila kita cek balik dengan pihak PFAM, ada terdapat beberapa fakta ataupun yang bertentangan dengan deklarasi tersebut. Jadinya kita terpaksa mengambil inisiatif dengan memberikan denda lah kepada pihak pasukan itu, 3 pasukan tersebut dengan denda RM20,000 itu, ya. Saya pernah mencadangkan sebelum ni pada Mr. Stuart, tapi kita belum laksanakan lagi, sebab saya ada cadangkan untuk FIB ada mencadangkan untuk membuat statutory declaration, tapi impact statutory declaration kalau kita buat lebih besar sebab dia melibatkan dari segi undang-undang. Namun demikian is enough untuk membuat deklarasi biasa oleh pihak pasukan lah, ya, untuk maybe mereka mungkin tidak ataupun overlook lah, kita anggap dia overlook dengan deklarasi yang dibuat. Okey, jadi saya nasihatkan lepas ni, they have to make sure the fact correct lah, ya. In making the declaration, they have to make sure the fact correct. Kalau tak, mereka akan didenda ataupun dikenakan tindakan di bawah artikel 2.4 Club Licensing Regulation 2023. Terima kasih. Untuk
So, saya nak tanya tu, apa seperti pasukan Kelantan kan, kemarin kalah dan dikatakan jumlah gol yang agak besar, dan statement daripada jurulatih mengatakan dia terpaksa kadang mengutip pemain-pemain universiti dan sebagainya lah kan, untuk sesuatu perlawanan. Jadi ini menunjukkan seolah-olah tata kelola untuk pengambilan pemain dalam setiap perlawanan dalam Liga Super macam ada kelemahan. Mungkin boleh.
Okay, thank you. Saya pun tengok video tu pagi tadi dan agak terkilan juga daripada MFL, di mana pasukan sedang dikendalikan di peringkat Liga Super di dalam operasi sebegitu, ya. Tetapi daripada MFL, daripada segi organisation of the league, ya, daripada segi proses untuk seorang pemain beratur dan masuk atas padang, pemain-pemain itu perlu didaftar di dalam liga kita, di dalam mana-mana pasukan Liga Malaysia, iaitu daripada pasukan Liga Super bawah 23, bawah 20 dan bawah 18, di mana the up and down is permitted, ya. Dan kita tahu pasukan Kelantan FC menggunakan kebanyakan pemain pasukan bawah 23-nya di dalam liga tahun ini. Dan apa saya rasa maksud coach tersebut adalah pemain-pemain dahulu bawah 23-nya yang kebiasaannya tidak diguna pakai di dalam perlawanan-perlawanan Liga Super terpaksa dipanggil balik untuk perlawanan ini disebabkan tak cukup pemain. So ini antara juga kerisauan daripada pengurusan MFL, daripada Datuk Presidennya sendiri mengenai komen daripada coach tersebut, yang tidak salah daripada komen beliau, tetapi menjadi satu red flag kepada MFL mengenai tata kelola dalaman pasukan dan operasi satu pasukan Liga Super yang kami harap pasukan yang amat besar dalam Kelantan yang boleh memastikan cara-cara dalaman pasukan tidak diberi wajah yang negatif kepada Liga Malaysia. Because of one team, the impression is across the entire league. Di sinilah majoriti soalan yang ditanya rakan-rakan media mengenai tindakan-tindakan dan keputusan yang akan dibuat MFL adalah keputusan over the minority, tetapi keputusan impact kepada majoriti. Yang itu yang daripada MFL, kami selalu terpaksa kita mewakili 14 pasukan. Kita bukan mewakili satu pasukan atau satu liga saja. Di mana-mana tindakan yang kita ambil, keputusan yang kita ambil, tidak boleh satu keputusan yang ada impact kepada 13 pasukan yang lain, disebabkan kita nak jaga satu pasukan atau nak kurangkan spending 2-3 pasukan menjadi satu impact kepada majority of the teams. So I hope that from an MFL perspective we see Kelantan recover. The timeline is clear. Kalau diorang tak menghormati garis masa yang diberi daripada FIB, Kelantan sendiri akan menggagalkan penyokongnya. Ya, masuk.
Musim depan ada pemikiran
Musim depan. Okay, thank you. Terlalu awal untuk saya buat keputusan tu. Bagi kita selesaikan isu-isu slot-slot musim ini, dan kita akan umumkan nanti, sebab semua keputusan penyingkaran semua adalah keputusan ahli lembaga pengarah MFL, dan kita akan bawa perkara-perkara ini ke board selepas kita tahu jumlah pasukan Liga Super 2024-2025 nanti.